to my channel. Today we're doing another Dun anime review. And today I'm doing a review on Canaan, or like Canaan from the Bible, which I thought was a really interesting name for this anime, because you wouldn't think anime by two different girls with two different backgrounds in this action-packed anime in the wonderful remote town of Shanghai, China, would have an interesting turn of events, if I do say so myself. It has a complete list of 13 episodes. And one thing that I find very interesting is that these characters, both who are very strong female leads, as you can tell, and they have different demeanors about them. But one thing I like to point out is, if I can find the picture for it. Here we go. It will work. I know it's put it out for me. Is these two characters right here? This character is known as Maria. She is a friend of this stoic, strong woman named Canaan, or Kana. Mina is a photographer for a news company, and Kana is kind of like I would say a mercenary in a sense. But this girl I find very interesting. She's a very silent character. You know, in like the movie Quiet Place, it was a very quiet and deaf character. She kind of reminded that. She, not in too much way, she's given very little lines in this anime, which I thought was very strange until the very end of the series, which I thought was the very developing twist of this. I thought it was very interesting, this whole anime as a whole. Basically the story starts off as Maria trying to find a new exciting news case. Basically, Maria wanted to her old friend Kana, as they met before in the past, and things go down. Like I said, things go down in pairs of 3 in any anime. Stuff always goes down. In episode 3, well, sweet little Maria here gets kidnapped by terrorists and infected by a virus, and the only way to cure it is to find her scientist father, who, this is where her friend comes in to swoop down and be her knight in shining armor. And surprisingly, I thought these two being friends were very strange, because they, as you can see, I thought they didn't balance out each other very well, because Marie's very sweet, innocent, and Kana's very stoic and strong, and doesn't really, well, it just seems weird that she befriends her very interesting and paths really cross, because I think in some cases it kind of wouldn't want nothing to do with Maria, because it's considering their different circumstances and places and everything else. I think that these two are apart from 2 different worlds that seem to interloop, whether they wanted to or not. It seems fate had much bigger plans for them, and Kana's rival over here. I think it's very interesting how the story interloops with only being like 13 episodes, I think, as a whole. And with the main character, I think it's like you see a lot of Kana's past and understand her hardship, where she's come from, and with Maria, how these two have completely different lifestyles. And so you guys sorry, completely different lifestyles, and it's just very interesting to see that we meet Kana's rival by the name of Alfie, I think, if I'm saying her name right. And these two are just like never seen eye to eye due to them working together with Kana in the past, but I won't dive too long into that. But I think with the show being very gun heavy, because action packed, like murder show, like all these guns they have here, all these gun names, I have no idea. Like honestly, I'm not a skilled marksmith, I'm not a gun expert. I just know there's a lot of gunfighting, a lot of noise, and intense, very intense battle scenes. But another thing that I have noticed is that throughout this whole movie, that I noticed that each of the backgrounds here, as you can see in this picture, are visually stunning, and I thought that was a very interesting choice, because these characters are in, you know, how normally anime like solely stationed in like Tokyo or America, Australia, and then how some it was laid out to the center of the rising conflict and the climax, and then all the point to the resolution. But I think it's very important to have each scenario change for the season, because I think it's very important for the reader to not lose interest or hope well, not hope, hope's not the right word, but interest when you go through a story like this where it's changing multiple places to slowly save like different characters, and in this case by different characters I mean how this all started is with basically Maria getting kidnapped by terrorists and being infected by a virus. And I think how kind of was kind of like place in Maria's path to like save her was kind of interesting because their one thing I like about it that both of their character developments kind of developed and evolved over the years. I think it was kind of funny to see them work together on little side missions or whatever, or work together while she's trying to get hit and kind of trying to protect her like a bodyguard in a sense. But it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of interesting. Sorry guys. I think one thing I liked about it was all these interesting characters. You never got bored with any of them, and I think it was really interesting to see how they developed over the 13 episodes. Even though it's kind of short than the stereotypical ones, but I think it's also very important to see how different characters from like different parts of the world are like intertwined and how they interact, because you slowly start seeing her kind of open up more, kind of, and then sometimes slowly they kind of end up like I think switching roles in the series, but I won't delve too into that. But I think overall that this series was really good, especially when you name a character after like a promised land or something from the Bible. I thought that was a really interesting twist, and I think especially when I mentioned before, the character that is very quiet, she plays out, well, her role is very interesting, I think. And I think her role playing out in this series as a whole was very interesting. I think it's very intriguing how action-packed anime can have all these twists and turns. You don't know what to expect within this 13 episode genre of it, I think. And overall, when you have a mercenary and assassins and gunslinger, it tends not to bore you. You think of this as like a modern version of like the Matrix, if you presume, if you know how the Matrix went on. Didn't well, it kind of ended well, just about how you received it in my sense. But for Kana, I think it ends on really a good high note. I just wish there was more to it, sadly, than just 13 episodes. I felt like it was cut a bit short, but that's just me. But I always like sequels and more to an anime series than the average person, but that's just me. But also comment down below if what y'all think of Kana. Do you think that two people who are from two different perspectives should really work out as friends in this series, or do you think that their dynamic shouldn't have really worked at all, and the story shouldn't have went the way it did? But I just think kind of maybe deserves like a second season if it was brought back to revamping. But who knows? That's just my opinion. I think having two different characters of two opposite poles of the spectrum is very interesting. It's very interesting how they did the plot very well to make these two interact, and through the whole broadcasting of the story in general as a whole, along with the animation, the voice actors, and the character development throughout the entire series, even though it was very 13 episodes. I will say, it being a very action-packed anime, it's very, what's I'm looking for? It's, well, I don't think it's considered good or bad. I think it's a lot to take in. There's a lot to make sure you pay attention to in an aspect. But I think it worked out really well for the series. Sadly, there is no word of a second season. Not yet of any kind. But, we'll wait and see what happens. If not, don't fix it. This series itself was really great. I think it deserved more than just 13 episodes, but hey, that's just me. I like action series to basically continue, but it just didn't. So let me know what you think about my review of Canaan. Don't forget to comment down below. And comment down if you like Kana better or Maria, and do you think the roles should have been reversed or switched, or do you think the playing field should be more level where Maria wasn't so innocent and the skull of the lines like a blind eye and make everything naive, or do you think Kana's story should have been a little different if you have seen the actual series itself? But let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time for another dun dun anime review, and see you next time. Bye bye.